What is going on, everyone? This is Cody, and you are tuned into B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios. It's a Monday. It's 2 o'clock. That means it's time for the latest news to keep you in the groove. But it's a special edition. Maya, why is today's edition special?
Because Jennifer Robertson is calling in.
Jennifer Robertson, welcome! The crowd goes wild! How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Well, we are so excited to have you here, and I'm going to disappear, and you guys can just visit. Take it away, Maya.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I've been such a fan of yours for the longest time, so I'm so excited to be talking with you.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. This is my most exciting interview of the week. You're famous. You're more famous than me, so I'm excited to be talking to you.
So my first question for you is, what first sparked your interest in comedy and acting?
My father was also a comedian, so I think it runs in the family. In Canada here, he had a very popular radio show where he did different voices of famous people. So he was an impressionist. So I think it runs in the family. And I think by 5, all of my stuffed animals all had different voices and different characters. And I think it's just genetically a part of me.
Oh, cool. So you're also a writer, and I was wondering, has that always been a passion of yours?
Well, comedy, I think the writing came from comedy. So I went to theater school when I finished high school, and they were very kind and let me do all kinds of funny things to sort of get me through. And then I went to Toronto because I wanted to study at Second City and do improv. And so then I ended up doing like sketch comedy and stand up and that type of stuff. So that's sort of where my writing started. I wrote for sketch comedy shows first. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you were on the show This Hour Has 22 Minutes, and I know that you wrote several of the episodes. And I mean, for people who don't know what the show is about, it was like a political satire and mock news program, and it was so funny. And I loved it. And so to be able to poke fun at what's happening in the world, you have to have a really good grasp on what's happening. So I was wondering, are you a news junkie? Because I personally try to avoid the news whenever I can because it makes me anxious.
Yeah, that's such a good question, actually, because I would not have considered myself a news junkie when I got a job writing on that show. I was only on camera for a few episodes, but I was a writer on the show for a season. And I got schooled really quickly by all the other writers. And they're like, you have to read the whole newspaper, not just the front page. I'm no longer doing like political satire, that kind of writing. I know what you mean about being overwhelmed, but I was on that show in the early 2000s, and I think it was an easier time maybe to read the paper than it is today, pre-pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So it was a little bit easier, but I have tremendous respect and appreciation for people who can write political satire, who can find funny in really dark times. Those people are really important. Yeah.
Yeah. My family and I, we have we always joke that we have like a really dark sense of humor. And so a lot of people don't get it or don't get when I'm like joking and they think I'm serious, and I have to tell them, no, it's a joke. I don't. And
Same.
so,
Same here. Yep, absolutely.
yeah. Um, so you starred as Jocelyn in the series Schitt's Creek, which was so funny. And so I was wondering, what was the best part of being on that show?
It's hard to pick a best part. It was a pretty great show to be a part of, and to be a part of it for 6 years. And I mean, the cast, everybody was so perfect for those roles, and they're all such lovely people. We all hung out, and every time there was awards or a thing, we all got to hang out like a funny little family and like pile into a bus and drive somewhere, and we'd all get ready together for awards and things. And the whole show was so carefully written and created by Dan and Eugene and all the writers. And it was just so exciting every episode to see what your character was going to do. And they just got better and better. I think as every season went along, everybody knew those characters more. And it was such a great experience, obviously.
Oh, cool. Were you surprised by how popular the show became?
Yeah, I think I think you're always surprised, because there's lots of great shows that don't get the attention that they deserve. And so there's this, you're on a show that you feel like is really good, but then somehow with luck and timing and all the things that suddenly the attention gets pulled towards it, you're just it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So I sit there at these events going, oh my gosh, I remember being in some event and then turning a corner and being face to face with Viola Davis. And I just caught my breath and I went, oh, it's you. Like, I was just so taken aback. She's so incredible. And to be standing near her was like wild. It was wild. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. I loved that show, and so I was very sad when it ended.
We were sad too. We were sad. I don't know if you've seen the documentary, but they did a documentary about the show in the last days, and we were all pretty much just crying for the last week on and off. But it was such an amazing 6 years, and it was so wild when the show started. I have a daughter, she was 3. And then when we finished, she was 11. Like, you really see the span of time passing, and yeah, they're a great group. Miss them.
Yeah. So you currently star as Ellen Baker in Ginny and Georgia, and I also love this show. Can you relate to Ellen in any way?
In many ways, I think I relate to Ellen for sure. She's, a mother. I'm a mother. My kids aren't as old as the kids on the show, but she's getting there. My daughter is 12. So soon I'll be heading into the teen years, and I'm sure it'll be fine. I, definitely relate to her loving her kids and wanting the best for them, and wanting an interesting friend. She picked like a really cool, interesting person in Georgia to be best friends with. So she's not your typical kind of person who wants to kind of play it safe. She's looking for excitement and a little bit of fun, and she certainly found it being friends with Georgia.
Yeah. So have you had a favorite episode to film?
Of Ginny and Georgia? I loved the first episode, the pilot episode. I think where our characters meet is really fun. And anytime there's like a big dress up event, we have that casino night and we all got gussied up, or in season 2, which is on now, There's an episode where we're dressed like characters from Clue, but we couldn't actually say Clue, I think, because of copyright reasons. But I'm dressed like Mrs. Peacock, and I've got like a big fascinator peacock on my head, and it's like a big kind of festive thing. So that's always really fun when you get to wear cool costumes and do something different.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember that episode, and I thought that was so fun, dressing up and yeah. So you have been in so many different projects, including the movies Single All the Way and Hello Goodbye and everything in between, both of which I love. Of all the characters you've played, has there been one that has been your favorite?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Can I name 3 that were my favorite?
Yes.
I do top 3. Hey, it has to be Jocelyn, has to be in there because I played her for 6 years, so she was very dear to my heart. Ellen Baker from Ginny Georgia. And then I loved playing Lisa, who was the sister in Single All the Way, who was Michael Urie's sister. I loved playing Lisa. Lisa was kind of a little more kind of snarky and sarcastic, which was kind of fun to play. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, Lisa just cracked me up. Like, Single All the Way is one of my favorite movies to watch during the holidays. And so I just rewatched it over like before New Year's. And it's just so funny. And you just like the whole time are just like cracking me up every time I watch the movie.
Well, and Jennifer Coolidge, of course, is unbelievably funny as Aunt Sandy. I mean, it was very, very hard. Jennifer Coolidge and Catherine, obviously from the other Blank Creek.
Yeah.
Those 2, I mean, they're so funny. It's just so hard to get through a take and not laugh when Catherine's when she's doing Moira, or when Jennifer was doing Aunt Sandy. It was so hard not to laugh.
Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah, I whenever I watch, that show, I was always like, how could they get through a take without laughing?
You hold it in and try to think of sad things or do whatever you can, because if you're on camera, you're going to ruin that take for the actor if you crumble. I mean, every now and then you just do, but most of the time you just keep it together because you think this is so good. I don't want to ruin it for this other actor by cracking up and losing it while they're doing such a good job.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten stuck on a line that you just couldn't remember?
100%. 100%. I was just thinking when I was talking to you, there was some line where I was in the Cafe Tropical, and it was a really simple line. And I don't know, it was like, I'm going to go take these pants to the dry cleaners. That wasn't a line, but it was like that. And I couldn't get the order of the words right. And my character had like a stroller that was supposed to have a baby in it. And I got so flustered, I like crashed my stroller into a table. Like it was, and the scene was with Noah Reed and with Dan Levy, and they just stood there, and Noah just kept putting his head in his hands, just trying not to like make eye contact with me. I was like, I'll get it. What are we at? Take 20? I'm going to nail it. Let's go.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
So how did you get past getting stuck on it?
I think at a certain point, you look at the faces of everyone around you. Like a lot of times when you get caught in those laughing moments, it's you and the sort of actors immediately, and maybe a couple other people on the crew. It's kind of funny for a few takes. And then at take 20, you look around and you see the boom guy, you know, the guy was like holding the mic and his arms are shaking and he doesn't look like he's smiling anymore. And you go, oh man, I got to pull it together because Brad's arms are going to collapse. So I gotta focus. It's usually that pressure that like snaps you out of it. It's kind of like a very stern teacher giving you an evil eye. You're like, okay, joke's over. I'll do the line now.
So who has been your greatest role model?
Growing up, my dad was obviously a role model for me because he was a comedian also. So he was sort of my greatest creative support system. I loved, as a kid, I watched Carol Burnett. I watched I Love Lucy. I watched all those sort of, they were past my time, but they still aired all the time on TV. And I just thought they were brilliant. And so they're kind of my formative comedy came from those shows for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So is there a show that you are currently binge watching?
Yes, and I'm finished. I finished White Lotus a couple weeks ago, and I feel an emptiness in my heart now.
Oh.
I'm looking for a new show. What are you binging right now? What should I watch? Tell me.
Right now, I'm binge watching the show Grimm.
Okay.
I'm watching that, and then I'm watching the original Night Court.
Stop it.
Yeah.
That's a classic. That is a classic. It's so good.
It is.
Gosh. Okay, so you got old school and new school going on over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you watching Night Court? Where are you watching it? On YouTube?
I found it on Amazon Prime.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. It's like through the streaming service called Freevee.
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah.
We don't have that in Canada, but I have heard of it. I know it's in America. So they're doing a new Night Court, aren't they?
Yeah. It just premiered last week. And so I was so excited for that. And so I started watching the original to prepare for the new one. And I'm almost finished with the original. I think I'm almost through season 8.
Wow.
Because my mom and I are watching the new one together, and so I told her that I love that I have watched the original because there's so many references in the new one to
right.
Totally. So I'm like, I get all of these, and it makes me happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was a great show.
Yeah.
I get Freevee. If I go visit my friends in the States, I'll have to watch the new version. I'm sure there's somewhere I've got to be able to get it here in Canada. Some way. I'll find a way. Not an illegal way for anyone watching. I totally afford.
Yeah. Yeah. And I recently was like the other day, I was just kind of rewatching the shows like I've seen 100 times, but I never get sick of them. So like I love the show A Million Little Things, and rewatching episodes from different seasons, and I rewatched the most recent season, the season 4 finale, and I was just bawling. And like, I did that when it first aired. And I was like, why did I do this to myself? Why did I watch this?
And they got you again.
Yeah.
They got you again, even though you know that's you know it's a good show when you're still, yeah. It happens to me. I shoot shows and movies. I know what happens, and I'm still crying when I watch it. And I just go, I know this is, I knew this was happening. Why am I crying? But
Yeah.
kind of a good show. So there you go.
Yeah. So what is the most interesting thing that you have read about yourself that isn't true?
There's so much about me that isn't true. It's quite funny. One is that I'm worth $8 million. That's pretty funny. There's also, because my name is so, it's my own name, so I can talk badly about it. So ordinary, Jennifer Robertson. There is another sort of somewhat famous Jennifer Robertson, I guess, who was married to some Bitcoin guy who stole a bunch of money from people. So people often get us confused. So online it says that I was married to Gerald Cotton, which is the Bitcoin guy. So it was the other Jennifer. There's a lot of Jennifer Robertson confusion. And so I've even had people like message me going, "Where's my money?" And I'm like, "From Jennifer Robertson, read my bio. I'm just an actor. I don't know." And they're like, "Oh, sorry." So there's a lot of like that type of confusion, thinking I'm a different Jennifer Robertson. So a lot.
That's really funny. But yeah, I never knew that. So now I learned something.
There you go.
Something new. That. So thank you.
No problem.
So what subject could you give a TED Talk on that you are totally unqualified to give the talk on?
Baking. I could do a baking TED Talk. And I could confidently tell people how to make a pie, but I'm going to be honest, my pies are not great. I cannot make a good, if any of your viewers have tips for the pastry, I cannot make, I don't know, you're at a different altitude. Somebody told me, because I asked a friend, I'm like, my pie crust is terrible. What do I do? And they said, well, first, what altitude are you at? And I went, this is science. I just want to make a pie. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Anyways, but I would definitely try to fake it and deliver that TED Talk and then bake the worst pie for everyone. But it would be made with love.
Yeah, it's the best kind of pie.
Best kind.
Yeah.
Made with love, very thick, sort of doughy crust.
Yeah. Yeah. I always forget about the altitude thing because like my sister and I tried making something yesterday and we forgot about that. And
you're at a major altitude there.
Yeah. And so what we were making was like the outside was like completely burnt, but the inside was like completely raw. And so then we were like, oh, right, the altitude is different. And so then we just threw it out and we were like, okay, let's just order something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No one has the energy after the first failure to like immediately make the next one. You're like, I got to walk away from this. I got to shake it off. I'm going to come back in a week or two. We'll try it again. Yeah.
So my final question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
That's a big question. You ask great questions, by the way. I just
Thank
want you
you.
to know, when you do all this press, you talk to lots of people and you get a lot of questions that are similar, and you ask very interesting questions. I just want to put that out there.
Thank you so much.
Who do I consider a superhero? I would say, I would say any kid that has to face a circumstance that is well beyond their years to comprehend, and they face it and move forward. My daughter has terrible anxiety and it goes up and down, but there were times when she was very little where I saw her like terrified to get on an airplane or do a thing. And I saw her find that courage inside of her, even though she was so little, to go through that. And I think that's incredible. I think kids who have illnesses that are like beyond their comprehension and face that day after day and still have a smile on their face. And some days they don't, and that's okay too. But I think that is true bravery in these small little bodies with these big hearts inside. I think all those kids are superheroes.
I love that. And yeah, I have to, I agree with that. Yeah. Well, sorry, I'm like losing all my words because I just can't believe I'm talking to you. So I'm trying to figure out how to form sentences right now. So
Okay.
thank you. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I've just had the best time talking with you. You've made my week. The sentence thing. Yeah, you've made my week. This has been the best way to start the week. So thank you.
You made mine too. Thank you. It was such a lovely chat. It was so nice to get to know you.
You too.
Thank you so much. You are just a pleasure, and we have enjoyed having you. When you happen to be in Colorado, come on by the Seacrest
I
studio.
will totally come back.
We'd love to see you.
Okay. Love it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye.